I mean, like I say, I think it only ever used to stock probably 5 or 6 cars, you know, obviously because the prices of them, a lot of them, and it had two workshop ramps, and it was in a unit on a trading estate.
Yeah.
And now we've got, you know, fully purpose built, you know, workshop, showroom, offices, all sorts. You know, we've currently got 65, 70 cars in stock at one time.
That's it's quite a lot. I
it
think.
is. Yeah, genuinely, and there's plenty coming in and out all the time. You know, we've got, I think, 8 workshop ramps, all full usually. We've also got a storage side of the business as well. So we have anywhere between 30 and 50 cars at one time for customers that want discrete storage.
Yeah.
You know, through the winter months and wherever else where they don't want to drive the cars. And they want them out of the way. So it's
so the business
grown.
has been quite altered since.
Yeah, massively.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 2, I believe it is, of Visionary Academy. Today we have very prestige car dealer and entrepreneur Jack Brearley. How are you today, Jack?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, nice drive up, nice and relaxed.
Good. Did you travel far?
Probably about 2.5 hours, from Birmingham
Not
area.
too bad then.
So,
not too bad at all.
Not this time of the year, especially.
Exactly. And is this your first time ever doing a podcast in a very long time?
It is, certainly.
Amazing. So for the audience who may not know you, Jack, tell us a bit about yourself, what you do as a career and what you do as a whole.
So, I mean, in general, my brother and I have a business in the Midlands that, you know, we do service, sales, repair, you know, of all sorts of vehicles. Originally it specialised in prestige, but obviously now we sort of opened up a bit more to do a bit of everything.
Amazing. And what sort of cars do you, I guess, sell in your showroom? What do you have on show, I guess?
So the business originally predominantly looked after Aston Martin. Obviously that's quite a niche brand.
Yeah, very good brand as well.
And very seasonal though. You know, a lot of them come out of storage, you know, for 6 months at a time and then vanish off into storage and never come back out for a while. So it's very seasonal. So we sort of branched out a little bit, doing now, you know, Audi, VW, you know, your Jaguar Land Rover stuff.
Again, very big brands.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. And ones that we've got experience in, to be honest. You know, as a group of people and as a team, we've all got very good experience across those brands. So we try and focus on those.
Amazing. So you said you co-own it with your brother. Tell us a little bit about how you and your brother got into doing the business. Like, what was the inspiration? Was it from leaving school? Was it family?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes from family. It's, you know, Tom and our dad, for example, is quite well known in the car business. Very inspirational for him and for Tom, should I say. You know, we look up to him very much in that respect, and very, very good at what he does. So I think obviously we were always around cars as children growing up.
That's
you know, it kind of was always going to be the way.
Yeah, that's it.
So Tom obviously went into more of a sales side. I went into more of an after sales workshop engineering sort of side.
So the two combined was like the perfect recipe,
exactly.
I guess.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So far
recipe,
it seems to be going well.
So far so good.
Exactly. But no. So I think eventually it was always going to come to the point where we wanted to do something together, and, you know, more so as a family as well.
Amazing. So what was life like for you both growing up, I guess?
Very
so tell
good.
us a bit about where you're from, family dynamic, who you live with, and what general life was like growing up and at school.
So I was never that academic when it comes to school. I was born in Shrewsbury, still around the Midlands. I obviously moved at a very young age to a place called Worfield, to be honest, near Bridgnorth. Quite a nice historic town.
Yeah.
Very nice. And we grew up there. And it was absolutely wonderful, you know. We never really, you know, we were never bored. There was something to do.
Always something to do. That's
Always,
it.
And if it wasn't winding each other up, it was going out.
Young
and doing
brothers
something.
causing mischief together.
Exactly. But no, we had a great upbringing, you know, which I guess is credit to our parents for being both incredibly hardworking and always putting us first, which is absolutely fabulous. And, you know, it's
and what do your parents do?
So my mum used to basically, my grandfather, should I say, goes back a long time, had he was in the aviation business as far as flying schools and insurance businesses.
Wow.
And then obviously that was his business. My dad started off very similar to us, you know, in cars, sales, all that sort of stuff, and worked his way up, and now does that on quite a large level. Nationally.
So you and your brother had quite amazing influences as parents
very much
to look up to,
and very much
that really helped you along with your business. So tell us a bit how you both were like at school, because I believe you said you wasn't too academic, but what were some of your favourite subjects in school? What sort of inspired you at the time from a young age, would you say?
Big thing for
me. Was it cars or was it something different?
Anything with an engine always was something, you know, exciting and something I always wanted to get into. But as far as subjects wise, obviously, you know, the the active subjects, PE, all that sort of stuff, DT,
anything physical.
anything like that. I was quite, because I'm quite hands-on. I like, finding out how things come apart.
Of course.
And usually come apart a lot easier than they go back together.
The
in my
engineering
instance.
and all,
But
the things to mechanics and cars that you don't see and putting them together, that kind of thing.
But I mean, at school, it was more so history as well.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, which is a little
I'm a big history buff as well. No, I totally relate to you on that, to be honest.
I do like a bit of history in that respect. So that was always an enjoyable subject. I guess as we sort of progressed to the end of secondary school, it got to the point where it was either a decision of another GCSE subject you want to do. And I mean, if my memory sounds correct, it was geography or an art. And neither of those I really would have got any benefit out of. For me personally, I don't really think.
You just didn't see a future in those particular subjects?
No, not so much of an interest.
Nothing for you personally?
So I opted to do a day out a week instead of school, working at a dealership for free.
Oh, amazing.
And I think that's obviously, again,
the start.
Yeah, the start, I think. I went to go and work for a local dealership, a Vauxhall dealership in the middle of nowhere, countryside dealer. It was nice and quiet in that respect.
Yeah.
And
gives you a chance to train and build yourself up.
Certainly. And I used to do the morning in sales, and the afternoon I'd get my overalls on and I'd be in the workshop, trying to help as best I could.
Getting stuck
spanner away,
Yeah.
And I mean, it was back in the day where we used to write the spec boards out by hand and put them in the side of the windscreens.
Love that.
Which these days everything's online, isn't it? And it's all auto-generated and whatever else.
It's so different these days, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think even as a dealership it was as well, because it being such a country dealership, it was all about the repeat business, I guess, over the years, because they've only got such a small buying pool of people.
Yeah.
In these small country dealerships, and it's all about treating the customer right, making sure they come back next year or the year after. It's not like a city dealer where you've got so many people around and the footfall just keeps falling in.
Yeah, because you said your brother was massively into sales. Do you believe that spawned onto yourself as well? Do you believe you had that sales mindset from a young age as well?
Yeah, I mean,
or was that more?
That was more later for me. Yeah, certainly later. I mean, I do a bit of all sorts now. Tom does, predominantly sales.
Yeah, that's his
because that's
forte.
his background. Yeah, certainly, and he's very good with the finance side and all that and la-di-da-di-da.
Yeah, all the technical side of things.
Exactly. Yeah, and obviously, like I say, I mean, we're not at a point where we can say that's all that you do, that's all that I do. We both have to muck in and get stuck in and help out with the rest of the team. Yeah. So, we try and balance that quite well. But predominantly my side, I suppose, at the moment is more of an after-sales side and just helping out because, that's usually the busier side out of the two.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, 100%. That sounds amazing. So how old was you both when you first got, your first job in doing like car dealerships and experiencing the sales side of selling cars and meeting people and getting really stuck into
so mine
that
was,
side?
I left school and I think I had about 2 weeks off and then I went into an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
That, I guess if you class that as the first proper job before the voluntary side at Vauxhall, I would have been about, just gone 17.
Wow, very young then.
Yeah,
you and your brother was both a similar age?
No, Tom was slightly older. Tom did a few other things. He went into the fitness route first, did a bit of gym and whatever else, and a bit of personal training.
Yeah.
And then he went into to a BMW Mini dealer after that, in Shrewsbury sort of area. But I'd have guessed, to be honest with you, Tom would have been about 21, 22, I think.
Yeah.
Around that.
So he had that tiny bit more experience.
Yeah, certainly.
But he was a great influence to look up to for you, especially to learn
sales.
from, learn the
sales.
skills, the trade, that kind of thing, the industry as a whole. So he was a very good role model to you at that age, especially being so young at 17.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, like I say, Tom's side was predominantly more sales, but I mean now we're seeing that shift where there's times where I have to go to him and say, I don't know this. And I can lean on him.
And you've got to ask for that help.
Exactly, and vice versa. When he comes to me, if we're taking, for example, a booking or customer calls up and says, oh, can you do X, Y, and Z? Yeah. And, that's where I'll step in and say, because we know the background, So I think there's times we have to lean on each other's expertise in there.
Exactly.
Certainly.
Exactly. And sort of, did you have help from your parents or did you both go out on your own?
No.
There's no shame in admitting that you had help because everyone needs help, especially being at that age.
And I think anyone that sort of says, a lot of the time, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are people out there that do it all on their own. But I think there is always someone
very
there.
Rare.
Yeah,
very
rare.
rare.
Someone does always help. Yeah. But Tom's parents, and mine, should I say, our mum and dad certainly helped us in that respect.
And that's good because family helps family, and I'm a big family person myself, and I believe, especially being such young boys like yourselves, you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have goals you want to meet by a certain age. So I think getting that help from your parents and that support is a brilliant start to anyone's career. And I suppose you'd agree with that. You know?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's carried on through now. Obviously, I'm a father.
Yeah.
And for me now, obviously that role's changed.
Yeah.
I saw what, my mum and dad did for Tom and I.
Yeah.
And you want to do that and more, for your
Yeah.
own. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're the big boots to fill, but
Yeah.
we're gonna give it our best go.
Yeah, that's it. So I imagine, like what you were just saying, you want to pass that down to your son, because I've seen you've got a son. How old is he, by the way?
It'll be 6 in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time.
Oh, bless it.
Yeah,
They grow up so fast, don't they?
Very good age, yeah. He's very cheeky.
Yeah,
He's
I
on holiday at the moment.
And what's it like? Are you a single parent? Do you raise him on your own, or do you have a partner?
Yeah, no. So we co-parent. I think obviously back in the day it was quite rare, but in this day and age it seems to be increasingly common. There's no animosity there, whatever else. It's just that's the way it ended up.
Well, that's why I wanted to delve into this subject as well, because I've looked on your social media, seen what you do as a job, seen your personal life, seen your hobbies and interests, and I want to delve into you being a single parent, because that's what I wanted to check in particular.
Yeah, certainly.
And there's a lot of young men or even older that are raising a child on their own, and are a bit lost or find it difficult or struggling, especially these days, now more than ever, like what you just said. Sort of any advice that you'd give to other young men in your position? What would you advise with?
Well, I've found, everyone's got their own way of dealing with that sort of stuff. I guess it's very, very individual on how you deal with it. I guess I'm fortunate in the respect of being quite laid back.
Yeah.
It's not always been like that. There was a very, very tough period, but that's a separate story.
Of course. And that's up to you if you want to get into that or not.
Probably not, to be honest.
No. We respect that. It's whatever you want to talk about,
so that's, like I say, let's just leave that one. But there's times, there's very difficult times, and there still is at times, a lot more rare now these days than they were.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, it was, you sit back and go, do you give up? Do you, get your head?
On?
Yeah, do you get your head in a mess?
Do you
get, what am I going to do? Or press on through and try and find a way and make it work. So, and that was the way that I guess my parents have always been. Yeah. So again, it carried on through.
And did your parents, were they like a good influence in helping you with your young boy? With,
massively.
Especially being on your own.
Yeah, I'm not so much. I'm not the biggest talker in that respect.
Yeah.
I like to keep things quite close to
myself.
And
personal,
I deal with a lot of that stuff on my own.
Yeah.
But there's certainly been times there that they've helped. That's a given. Yeah.
That's what family's for.
Yeah,
that's
certainly.
What it's all about.
And I mean, I've got obviously one of my best friends, should I say? He was incredible for the lot as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Which still to this day I'm very grateful for. He's been great ever since.
That's
and still took a massive. He pops around very regularly now to come and play with my lad, and he's, you know what I mean. He's basically
and what's his name, by the way? We didn't catch his name.
My son's.
Yes.
Oliver,
beautiful name. Very beautiful name.
It was a lot of choices, and we went for a strong English one.
To be honest, that is a perfect name. I love that name. And I imagine you've been such a great dad for him and a good influence, and I'm sure he's got his own little interests now.
Yeah, he's car mad. Yeah. Absolutely car bike.
I'm going to say, do you ever
take
him, to see the cars, the beautiful cars, his inspiration?
Usually when I drop him back on the day, he says, Daddy, can you bring something else next week?
Yeah.
Say, okay.
You're just like, I'll try.
There's so many walks through the showroom some weekends.
It's not simple.
Can you take that one? I'm like,
no.
Not that one,
Unfortunately not.
Nah, so he loves it. He gets to go on all different things, all sorts. He gets to experience him. I mean, anything from a few weeks ago, we were in a lovely Audi, R8, whatever it was, and then the week after that, we were a 1960s MG.
Yeah,
all classic Rolls Royces.
That is a very beautiful thing for a young boy, especially at that age, to look up to. My dad can do this for me. And
again, I think it stems from Tom and I experienced that from a young age.
Yeah,
and again, it's just wanting to recreate that because I know how great our upbringing was childhood, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
It's doing it again now, plus some.
Yeah, so very happy memories from your childhood.
Through
school, you and your brother not being too far in age, good upbringing.
No, yeah, exactly.
Good through school. Did any of you go to university or college?
No, none of us. I don't think there's university history in our family for a long time, I don't think.
Oh, wow. That's interesting, though, because you'd assume there would be,
Yeah, not at all.
You seem quite an intelligent guy, and so does your brother and your family,
Not at all in that respect. No, we didn't. I don't think... From memory, I know I didn't. My father didn't. My Tom certainly didn't with me. Neither of us, him or I, definitely went. Mom, no. But I guess you know, there's a trait. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think university is incredible. So if you're going to use it to go into a role,
into a certain career,
role, you know, the likes of solicitors and all that sort of stuff. I get it. You know, doctors, whatever else.
Yeah.
If you use it properly, but again, like I said before, there wasn't that many topics that stood out to me.
And I suppose, like, a few people have said this to myself as well. School and university are not the be all and end all to someone's career and path in life. You know, it's just a guide, I guess, to
that's
help you decide what you want to do.
The apprenticeship
was
absolutely fabulous for me. It was perfect because, you know, it was at a time where, you know, I was 17 going on. I think it went on for about 5 years-ish. And, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, the wage in no apprenticeship's absolutely amazing. Yeah. But it was more than I'd be getting if I was at university, for example. So it created a lot more opportunity and things I could do and experience.
Yeah. And from that apprenticeship, you just knew that was what you wanted to do.
Yeah, there was learning obviously through it. That's the whole point of it. I met some, you know, incredible people. I mean, my best friend, I met him. He was my mentor, believe it or not, back in the day. So I think that was a massive thing for me. It was earning and learning at the same time.
Exactly, because it's not just about learning. You've got to delve into work at the same time. People just think, get straight into academics and that'll shape your future. But that's not necessarily the case.
Everyone's different in that respect.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you sit me down in front of an exam paper, you know,
yeah, exactly.
Not very good.
To be honest, I couldn't agree more with you on that. You know, everyone sort of thinks, you know, if you don't do college or university, you're not going to amount to nothing. But it's absolutely so far from the truth.
Yeah,
you know,
I'd agree with that. Yeah,
you shape your own future, and if you're hungry and have a passion for a certain kind of pathway, I think anyone's absolutely capable of doing that. If you've got the hunger and the passion and the interest for anything in life. And you and your brother are a prime example of that. You can make it happen.
Yeah,
absolutely achievable.
Yeah, we chose obviously that route. That just sort of kind of suited us better, I guess.
Yeah.
He, like I say, you went into sales side over in Shrewsbury. I went off, and I guess mine sort of helped. To be honest with you, I started off in a Jaguar Land Rover dealership as an apprentice mechanic.
Yeah.
Changed dealership towards the end of the apprenticeship.
And how was that for you personally?
The dealership was fine.
Yeah,
the dealerships were great. You know, both had a very good team of people at the time. The only reason for the change was the dealership closed. You know, I think the manufacturers
things like that happen,
the manufacturers wanted to relocate. That's fine. They're only allowed a certain amount of dealers, I think, within, you know, a certain catchment.
Yeah.
So it changed because ours was a slightly smaller, not a countryside dealer, but not so much, you know, not a huge grand one that you sort of see these days.
Yeah.
So they changed it obviously to one of these new arch concept, you know, styles in a new dealership.
Yeah.
Because
you can't start off too big too soon. You've got to work your way up the ladder, you know, and that's what you and your brother did.
So so I went from there into the next dealership, finished my apprenticeship, and then I mean, like I say, that apprenticeship helped me take the next step. And I ended up going to the manufacturer, Jaguar Land Rover themselves.
Yeah.
I was there for 5 years.
Amazing.
And learned some, you know, a lot of vital things now that we use.
Yeah, that you take into your career to this day.
Yeah, so it was very good.
So have you noticed a change from yourself from when you and your brother first started out to where you are today? And what are some of them changes? Talk us through everything.
I mean, there's always
challenges. And negative.
Yeah, there's always
like
challenges.
To hear both sides.
Yeah, certainly.
Definitely.
There's also, I mean, like I say, there's always challenges. We are both extremely different.
Yeah.
In every way, which I mean works a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The occasional time, you know, we clash heads in that respect, but it's all constructive. And so it's, you know, there's things that Tom does certain ways that, you know, I maybe don't, and vice versa. So finding where we first sort of slotted in together, I think, was a bit of a challenge.
That was the first challenge.
Yeah, when we first started working together, I think it was, you know, because Tom was there for about 6 months before I was.
Okay.
I had a longer notice period to hand, you know, to work, whatever it was at Jaguar Land Rover.
Yeah.
But yeah, finding your areas and your expertise and where that sort of, you know, works for both of you was definitely a challenge to start with. There was
because they always say
words,
you know, working with family can either make you or break you, and it sounds like it's made you both. If anything.
But we both
the right
definitely.
way.
Yeah, I mean now after, you know, you get that out of the way, you find out, right, you're better at this, I'm better at that. You know, with the experience side of it, that's where you fit. It's become very beneficial in that respect. Yeah. And more so on a personal level as well. You know, Tom and I, as close as we were, obviously Tom moved slightly further away. And I obviously went the opposite way with work. When I was a mechanic, we went two separate sort of ways. And, you know, I wouldn't say there was ever, you know, distance or whatever, but we didn't speak as much as we once did.
Yeah.
So the last year or so, now we've been working back together, it's nice to have got that back as well. So even on the personal side, you know, there's a lot come from that.
Yeah. That's really good. And do you feel like you've still got that same chemistry as when you first started out? Do you have that same roles? You're straight back into it? and know what you both are doing, know your roles.
Yeah, now we do. It's very easy.
Straight back into it. And,
it's very easy.
That's the right word.
Yeah,
easy.
now we sort of know what we both do, and that's for you to pick up, that's for me to pick up. There doesn't really need to be any conversation these days. We just kind of know.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's not always been like that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we made some quite drastic mistakes too early on as well, which is not ashamed to say. We made some odd calls and things, but I guess it's finding out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, you just took the word right out of my mouth there, and that is very true. And it's just finding your way with business. I mean, anyone who's into business, it's not an easy road at all. You do have your ups and downs, positives, negatives, lose money, earn money. It's all the same with business, And it sounds like working with family, it can have its advantages, disadvantages, but you both made it work, and that's what's really good.
Yeah, there's certainly ups and downs.
Yeah, and what sort of, I imagine the good days was very rewarding, but sort of for anyone who's in a similar sort of industry to you and your brother, who might just be starting out at 17, 18 like yourself, what sort of advice would you give to them on them down days where they might be not earning as much money as what they are, not selling as many cars, just not in a good mindset, maybe, because young men especially these days struggle with the mental health and keeping on track with a career and staying motivated. What advice would you give to them young men these days starting out as yourself?
Well, one, I don't think you should be ashamed of any of what you deem a failure, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like I say, Tom and I have had a few of them.
Yeah.
But it's the ones where you come back from it.
Yeah.
And I think it's learning from them, which is one thing we've had to do. Made a mistake, and a lot of the time there's a lot of money been lost, and you think, right, okay.
And it gets you down.
Yeah. Certainly you think, oh, bloody hell, we've just worked a few days before, done really well, and then that's, it's counteracted that. But it's as long as you learn from them, I think, now we've got something in place that, to try and avoid it now.
Yeah.
We've been burnt.
Exactly.
So it's coming back from that. And I mean, as far as the mental side, I'm probably not the greatest person to ask in that respect, because I am quite laid back and very fortunate in that respect that I'm quite,
which is good.
Yeah,
it's good.
quite level-headed there. However, it's not to say that I haven't seen people affected by it, 'cause I certainly have.
Yeah.
And through the whole sort of early days of the situation with my son, should I say, there was times, where you just feel like you're up against it, and you think, well, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And for me personally, my choice was the gym.
Yeah. And tell us a bit about that. Like, how did the gym help you mentally and physically?
It still does this day. Does this day. I go every single day without fail. I, a lot of the time put my headphones in, and then that's what it's about for me. Is going, shutting off. I go every day after work. Yeah, I don't do it before work usually. It's after.
Yeah.
And it's that shut off for 2 hours.
Yeah, just away from reality and everyday life, I guess. And
I think there's a lot of crossovers, I think, to be fair, as far as, with work that we see that can carry across. It's everyone kind of wants that result the same day.
Yeah,
and it's the same with the
everyone,
gym.
Especially these days, they want success fast.
Yeah, it's
within
the same with the gym
year.
though. People walk in there and they think, oh, do you know, I'll look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in
but
3 weeks.
You've got to be realistic.
And
you've
it's
got to be
years and years and years of relentless going, even on the days you don't want to go.
Yeah, you've just got to push yourself.
Yeah, and I noticed there's a few things and times with work's been the same. You think, crikey, it's been a tough month, or it's been this, or it's been the other, and you think, well, okay, put it behind.
Yeah.
Start again tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you got to do. You got to wake up every day, motivate yourself, have a good balanced diet, as I'm sure you do,
Not this time of year.
No, definitely not over Christmas. Definitely not over Christmas. I vouch for that as well. But in sort of everyday to-day life, you've just got to, for men and women, you've just got to keep motivated, positive thoughts, positive way of thinking. You're going to get up, earn this, you're going to do well, you're going to have a good day, and I'm sure that's the advice you give to others.
Yeah, and for me, it's constantly setting goals. And like I know you touched earlier on saying that, the things you want, you want to touch on something by then, and deadline this and deadline that. And, it's just, like, again, going back to the gym thing, it's the same.
Yeah, so we're going to say what helps you stay motivated, I guess.
Exactly that.
With anything.
Exactly
just that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my biggest motivation is obviously my son.
Yeah.
That's, on the tough days when you think,
Doing well
do you know
for
what,
him.
Buddy, I'm knackered, we haven't stopped for, weeks on end, we haven't had a day off for 3 weeks, whatever it is, and you think, it's not for us.
Yeah,
as great as it might be, and the niceties that come with it from time to time is great, but it's for somebody else.
Exactly.
You stick it through. And then it's the same with the gym, when you don't want to go, you're fed up, it's cold, this time of year, Christmas, like I didn't really want to go this morning.
Yeah.
But I don't like getting out of bed.
This is the worst time of the year for motivation, definitely.
Exactly, I don't like getting out of bed early.
I'm exactly guilty of that as well. You just think, oh, it's cold out, you can't be bothered, just go another day.
Exactly, but then you always come out of there, even if it's not the greatest session you feel, and you think, I feel better now.
Yeah, exactly. And you could have a session that surprises you. You could do really well. That could be your best session that you've had in a long time.
And again, I think that goes same to work. I think a lot of people have closed down. On December 22nd, even a lot of people on the Friday. Our after sales side did, but Tom predominantly and myself have been doing a lot of work through this week as well. And I think it's the same. Everyone else goes, oh, do you know what? I'd love a little break off of Christmas.
Yeah.
You think, while everyone else is, there's a time to capitalise on that there.
Exactly. You could think, well, everyone else is not working. I can take advantage of this, earn more money,
prime example,
do well for the business.
Tom was in there this morning. He's done two car deals this morning.
Exactly, yeah.
So, a lot of people
and
are
just
now
by this morning as well.
Exactly. So it is beneficial, I think.
Yeah.
It's certainly in that respect.
Yeah, and I imagine you and your brother both have that business mindset of constantly being like, we've got to do this to earn money, we've got to keep this to keep the business afloat, we've got to do A, B, and C, to produce results and to keep the business still going. Because I imagine as the years have gone on, it's just got more and more successful, and that's through to you and your brother keeping focus.
There's been a lot of guidance as well. I wouldn't say it was entirely us. We've had a lot of help in that respect, because obviously this was our first one that we've ever really done together and tried it full ball. Before, it's fine, we used to do bits on the side, we were working at other jobs, we do a little bit here, do a bit there, but of all sorts of trade and whatever else. Now obviously that's the sole career path, the sole income,
that is,
so it's making
it 100%.
Exactly, so it's making it work, which is why I think we're so excited about it and give it our all the time. And
every time you walk in, you just get that buzz of, this is where I'm meant to be, this is what I'm meant to be doing with my life.
And I think that was another very important thing. We had a chat about it a long time ago and thought, is this something we want to do? We sat down with our dad as well and asked for his advice and things. And
is your dad very good at giving you both advice? And
He'd be very on the fence, from his own personal experience over the years. Like I said, you've got to learn, the rights and the wrongs, and it helped us and certainly guided us with the decisions and that sort of stuff at the early days. But it's, for the first time, I think I speak on Tom's behalf as well on this, that, it doesn't really feel like work. As tough as it is,
it'll
and
feel
as long
like
as
a hobby
the
that you
hours
get
are
paid for,
exactly, as long as the hours are, it's hard work, there's early mornings and whatever else. But you think,
you've got to do it to get the results.
We enjoy it.
Yeah, you got to go through the bad to get to the good. Absolutely, with any career path.
Certainly, and I think now we've got, like I say, we've got to a point where we walk into work and it's work, but it's also a really good crack, and we have a good laugh at the same time.
Exactly, and if you wake up and enjoy your job, you never work a day in your life. That's what they say, don't they?
Yeah, and I think the same with, we try to obviously bring that through to the guys that work with us as well and work for us.
Yeah, if they're having a bit of a bad day,
try and make it a very enjoyable place to work. We often ask that, and try and get it out of them on the sly without directly asking that question.
But you sound like very good influences on the people who you work with, you and your brother.
Well, I mean, it goes around in circles. I think everyone else has been great influences on us as well, as far as even the guys that work with us. We've got some particularly very highly skilled technicians, with manufacturer's background,
especially with those sort of cars.
As certainly, well. And everyone brings their own bit of knowledge to the table. And without them, it would be a hell of a lot more difficult, if not impossible, because they do.
You need your team around you. Teamwork makes the dream work, certainly. As they say.
And even on a personal level, they're not only do they work for us and we all work together and whatever else, they're all very good friends.
Well, that's what matters, and a lot of people don't have that with the work friends or colleagues, should I say. They're just going to work, they might hate the job and just doing it to earn money and get by. But it's lovely that you can go to a job, love what you're doing, earn money, get on, and the team being not just colleagues but friends as well. Certainly. That's what life's about,
Prime example of that, one of our managers, Laura, for example. I was round there on Christmas building the Barbie Playhouse for a daughter, it goes both ways. But she's always been there at the same time, not only for work, but on a personal level as well when it came to, like the parenting questions and whatever else.
I love that.
So we managed to bring together a very, very good team.
And a mixture of generations and knowledge and dynamics. That's what it's about. One of our technicians is a few years away from retiring now, but the whole host of Aston Martin knowledge he brings is invaluable. To the younger,
in general, you know, the things that they know weren't on the computers those days. You know, he brings us all this old sort of fashioned ways and means and whatever else.
But that can be beneficial. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, you know.
Yeah, and we know, you know, if you put an Aston Martin in front of him, it's fine.
Yeah,
he
just knows everything.
It'll be fine in a few days. Yeah, there's nothing to worry about.
Ask him anything, he knows. Yeah. And that's amazing. A bit more of a fun question now. What's the best car you've ever driven, out of interest? What's the most... Because what sort of cars do you like, out of interest?
All, to be honest.
All?
Yeah.
Anything that's prestige and a bit
not even prestige, just something quirky.
Yeah, or something like vintage, old-fashioned.
Different. Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for every single type of car.
Yeah, because I was very excited for this question because I wanted to know your personal interest in cars themselves, what you like yourself, what you like to drive.
They vary all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, your top 5 then, we'll go with that. Top 5. No pressure. Okay. No pressure.
Probably, I was lucky enough that a friend of ours was selling at the time. We had to go and take, and we would try selling it on behalf of him at the time. Was a Ferrari 458 Speciale.
Oh, lovely.
So a very limited run, special Ferrari.
Very lovely car.
Beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, regarded now as one of the dying breeds of supercars before it all went with this, you know, hybrid electric.
They all seem to be hybrids and
turbocharged, everything. Yeah, this was proper raw.
All that, yeah.
So that's got to be up there certainly. Carrying on from there, I mean, you put me on the spot here.
If you need time to think, don't worry.
It's all like the quirky stuff, I think, more so.
Yeah,
you know,
or do you have a favourite
stuff.
Vintage car
We've currently got a Aston Martin DB6 in the showroom, and that is absolutely gorgeous. When you, I can hear him.
I just heard in the background.
Yeah, when you
very impressive.
when you actually get up close and personal with it, it's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. So that's a fan favourite. Although all your classic Ferraris are beautiful. You know, your 250 range, GTO, TDF, short wheelbase, all that sort of stuff. But I think you can't go wrong with the classic E-Type.
Yeah. See, it's not just about the modern hybrids and the new supercars. It's very much about the vintage, you know.
Well, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I took an MGA, should I say, home with the straight 6 in, and without boring everyone on this.
No.
You know, as far as power output compared to the new stuff, it's completely different spectrum.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller, no safety stuff, whatever else, and I had as much fun in that.
Yeah, as a big, like
500, 600, 700 horsepower.
Like low wide supercar.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
not
much
just
fun.
that, and the suspension on. My dad used to have an Audi R8 as well, and the suspension were a killer.
Yeah,
an
stiff.
Absolute killer. Because my family's done well for like cars and stuff like that as well, so I've got a bit of car knowledge myself. I don't look like I do, but I do. But I think for my dad personally, he just didn't like the low wide supercars. Just the suspension, if something went wrong, and everything seemed to go wrong with those sort of cars as well. And it just cost you a bomb, and you just think... And he got into a classic car, and he just felt alive again. And I just thought, I prefer this over a supercar. It just bought a vintage car, and it's
just the
so
fun of
different
driving,
to the R8. Yeah.
You know, it's just you and very mechanical.
Yeah.
No computers, no lights on the dashboard. It's just very, very relaxed.
Yeah. Because computers can go wrong, you know, the new technology can go wrong. Sometimes vintage is better.
Yeah. I mean, it's slightly temperamental, but it's the same with every car. You know, people are saying, you know, they're not reliable. You know, there is obviously exceptions.
Yeah.
But as long as you maintain and look after something regularly,
then that's what it's about.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of times we see cars, you know, that have missed this or have missed that service, and you know they've scrimped on that because someone else was going to sell it, and then
it just like
it snowballs at that point.
Yeah, I bet for me personally, if someone brought in a car and it was just had this wrong, you just think, well, you could look after that. It's so easy to.
And it certainly snowballs at that point because you know that can affect this and that can affect that, and you know that's when it starts getting
just
costly.
Asking for your car to be essentially wrote off in the long run. Yeah.
So like I say, regular maintenance is a huge factor in keeping all sorts of cars, especially the prestige stuff.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to look after both to make it's like anything in life. Maintenance is key. If you look after it long enough, it'll last long enough, you know.
It's the same with, the resale values as well, especially, like I say, on Prestige. If you can keep a well-documented history file with the car, I know for obviously not everyone buys a brand new one, so they can't keep it from day one, but from your...
they might get second-hand.
Exactly, but from your ownership, if you can keep that well-documented, and any daft scrap of paper that you might deem, I'll just chuck it in the bin. Or rubbish.
It could...
Genuinely, it goes with it.
Exactly.
And it makes a car so much easier to sell and even advertise when you have, you know, a good history file with it, and the next customer can come in and go, oh, but yeah, it's been looked after.
Exactly.
That's the biggest one.
And that's it.
And so it reflects in the price as well.
Exactly. So there's a lot of that what people don't think about, you know. And it could absolutely benefit them as well as you guys.
I mean,
you know?
prime example. I mean, BMW. You know, on a lot of their M range, you have to have them serviced. You know, within the first, you know, I think it's 1,000 miles or 300 miles.
Oh, you do. Yeah, I've heard that myself. Service. Yeah, you do.
And a lot of people go, well, why the hell would you do that? You know, but I mean,
but why
the
wouldn't
warranty.
you? Why wouldn't you, Martin? Yeah, that's
one. It was
the
warranty. Cause it's costly because obviously you first have a car and you've got to go and service it straight away off your own, you know, off your own back. But without that, I mean, we personally wouldn't buy that car.
Yeah, exactly.
If it could have everything else. No, it could have everything else. If it hasn't had the run-in service, we wouldn't. You know, and even if we were to consider it, the price would be reflected in that. I think that's the same for every group and dealer.
Yeah,
it's the regular maintenance really makes a difference to the prices.
Yeah, exactly. So very sharp and thinking, you know, this could benefit. And I imagine you give advice to your clients as well. You know, look after this, and this will benefit you that way. And it's good. You know, you've got all that experience behind you to help others and to give advice to others. So it's really good. I mean, is there any other cars that you've driven that you think, God, I can't believe I've drove that, you know?
The Speciale was one, I'll be honest. It was always a dream poster car of mine. That was fabulous. I mean, most of the Aston range has been ticked off, you know, same with the Porsche range. I guess, you know, some of the most modern GT3 RSs, you know, we've had the pleasure of handling and dealing in. Yeah. So those have been at times like, wow.
Yeah, very, like very a bit things. Of a pinching moment kind of thing. Yeah, very special
things. Yeah. But I guess the actual enjoyment comes from when they change hands.
Yeah. No, I can totally understand that, to be honest. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, although as much as Tom and I love cars, we do, you know, I think for anybody in the trade, it kind of can take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
in your personal life.
Yeah, certainly, because I mean, I used to be car mad. I used to try and swap my car every, you know, I laugh about it now, but you swap it all the time and get bored and X, Y, and Z. And now it's, you know, I suppose the benefit of we can try something for a night, or we can have a go in it for an hour, or, you know, whatever else. And after that you go, as great as it is. Yeah. I like mine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, nothing beats your own car. Exactly.
And I think, you know, we're very fortunate. We have a lot of people come in, should I say, that go, oh my God, look at these cars. This is amazing. Yeah. And that's, I think, when sometimes you have to sit back and go, oh yeah, they actually are amazing. But to us, eventually, when you see them all the time,
when you're around them every day, they can lose the excitement and fun can, I guess, come out of them a bit, you know, and you just think, you know, why don't I get excited around them anymore? You know,
but I think that comes back out though when, you know, when there's a deal agreed on it.
Yeah,
that's where the excitement comes, because you know that special car is going to someone who's, you know, probably really, really, really wanted one for a long, long, long time.
And you know it's a dream to buy it and have it and own it. Yeah. I just think we've got those cars just, you know, just waiting for people to buy. And it's very pinching moment, I imagine, you know.
Yeah, it is good. It's enjoyable. Yeah, that's where the thrill comes.
Absolutely. So, and what car do you currently drive, or cars, should I say?
Nah, just the one now.
Just the one.
I'm down to the one. I've got a Range Rover, the big V8 in it.
Oh, very lovely car. Oh, I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be the fuel costs. Not the fuel costs at the moment.
No, I can imagine. It's a bit of a stinger, I can imagine. Yeah, but, they like but worth it every day. Yeah. Other than the costs, I imagine, to run it.
It was a car that we were around from a slightly younger age when they first came out in 2014, 2015, the first gens. And I remember seeing them on the adverts and going and seeing me walk into dealerships and seeing it and going, I want that. It's my dream car.
Yeah, you just knew from that moment that is your dream car to this day.
Yeah, it was.
And when you were younger.
It was, yeah, I mean, like I say, it changes when you tick that off. But I always wanted, you know, the SVR was something so hugely far ahead of everything else in its market. I know there's other brands now that have, you know, matched it, if not overtaken it in performance and whatever else. Yes,
because obviously some brands are
everything
always
develops, doesn't it? There's always someone else take the place. But still, for me, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the Jaguar Land Rover background, being around them. You know, I mean, I worked on a lot of customers' SVRs back in the day. I remember thinking, one day I'd love one of these. You know, I'll do anything.
That's the dream.
It is, it is. It is, and I'm absolutely love it. I have no intention of really changing it, to be honest.
Amazing. No, I agree. You know, you like what you like, and that's it. You know, everyone's dream car is different. Yeah. You know, and what is the most expensive car, I guess, you've driven? Would you say, off the top of your head? Not necessarily a favourite.
Yeah, the new GT3 RS is, you know, some on the second hand market
Yeah.
You know, not a million miles away from £500,000.
Yeah, wow.
So those, I mean, but prime example, that's, you know, the DB6 that's in the showroom that we have to move occasionally and whatever else, that's, you know, 600 odd because it's, you know, complete nut and bolt restoration, but whatever, I won't bore you with that. But, you know, that's a high old price tag on that.
But no, every car has its own story, I believe. You know, every car's so different. Some cars are faster than others, some are slower than others. I believe that each car has its own story, you know.
Yeah, certainly.
And I guess that's moving on to my next question. What has been the most, I guess, let me think how to word this. Another word for exciting, but I guess what's been the most thrilling car you've ever driven and given you a real buzz and you thought, wow, this car is just something else, you know, it tells a story, it's so unique, it's very different to other cars, it's a pleasure to drive, it's convenient for comfort, just all that, all the positives.
If it was a single car as an all-rounder, again, I'm biased, but the SVR for me does everything.
Yeah,
you've got
everything
the noise,
you need comfort,
you've got the performance,
a smooth drive as well.
Extremely comfortable, spacious, and whatever else. And then failing that, I guess one of the cars that's made me smile the most, completely, very, very strange, was a tuned up, basically a Mark II Focus RS.
Oh, I might have seen them. Yeah, I think I know which one you mean.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, because I think it's, you know, everyone always goes, oh, you need loads of power, you need loads of power. You don't. It's just, there's a fine line, I think, with the power, the fun, the enjoyment.
People think it's about power and speed.
Yeah, the atmosphere around it.
It's not at all. It's about everything.
And that thing, you know, the exhaust, the note it makes, you know, the turbo noise, the overrun, everything about that.
It's not about exhaust as well. I hate it when people put an exhaust and it just sounds awful and they ruin the car essentially. No, it's just a no.
That was just, you know, as far as smiles wise, that was really, really, I think it's the whole atmosphere that comes with that car.
That was like a very good memory of a car that you've
very, very
driven
good,
and a very good experience all around.
Yeah.
Amazing. And my next question is, have you ever dealt a car to anyone who's famous, I guess, or a celebrity or someone who's a bit in demand, or have you ever had a bit of a starstruck moment with selling a car with anyone who's in demand, I guess?
No, I wouldn't say so. Not. I mean, I'm not the most up-to-date person when it comes to...
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
You know,
but I guess anyone that's walked into the showroom and just you thought, wow, they want to buy a car from us, kind of thing, I guess.
Not really. Not myself personally.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom. Oh well, no, for a fact, Tom's done a couple.
Oh, okay.
But you know, over the years, not so much myself though.
Yeah, but you never know. Never say never.
Never.
It may happen one day. I threw it out there now, so it'll probably happen.
Hopefully.
Exactly. And looking through your social media as well, I see you do a lot of motocross. You do a lot of snowboard. You've got did. Okay, so walk us through that for anyone who's viewing that does motocross currently.
Well, it's for sale if they want to buy it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I did it, you know, from when I was 5, I guess, very, very young. Another great memory of the childhood.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
My dad got me into it. He's big into bikes, you know, so he got me into that. Don't think Mum was too happy.
Yeah.
Because it's not exactly the safest
Mother's
sport. But
protective nature, yeah.
So I did that for quite a while. Nothing ever too competitive, more so for just fun, you know, the tracks and whatever else.
Yeah.
Then sort of gave it up for a little while, obviously, when I became a dad. Sold up a little bit before that. And then, as daft as it sounds, I was ill off work, believe it or not. And my friend was down in Surrey who rides all the time. And he said, do you want to pop down? I thought, yeah, do you know what? So I'll go down.
Yeah.
I drove all the way down and he'd got a spare bike.
Oh, wow.
And it was near enough brand new at the time, spare bike. And he was like, do you want to have a go on it? I was like, nah, I'm not feeling well. No. Not today, but whatever. And I knew the second I get on that, it's going to start. So I was like, no. A couple of weeks later, look, we're going to one more local. Do you want to come? That was it.
Yeah.
Ended up buying the bike off him. And yeah, that was it. Yeah. And then I had a little accident, like everyone does in motocross, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Because it's quite a dangerous sport, I guess, in a sense. Because a lot of people do it for a career as well, you know, and it can lead to injuries.
Yeah, certainly.
Some severe more than others.
Yeah, that's why I stopped, because I had quite a nasty landing, should I say, and neck and back. I think there was 3 odd vertebrae, whatever, that were broken in there, and a few other bits and bobs. But that
was enough for you to think.
Yeah,
I'm going to stop here.
I get it if you're doing things professionally.
Yeah, because
you know that's what you want to do. For me, it was a hobby.
Yeah.
And then obviously with being a dad, you think, there's a lot of things I still want to be able to do, and you hear of a lot of people
There's
these
some
days.
things I can put on hold and take up later on.
You hear of a lot of people that, you know, don't kind of stop because they love it so much and end up, you know, in a lot worse position.
Yeah.
And I thought, now that's my 9 lives up. I'm going to park it up.
Yeah.
So that was that. I mean, I've written a couple of times since, but nothing anywhere near like it was. And I like, you know, now I'd like to do a lot more, as daft it sounds, enduro.
Yeah.
You know, the sort of green laning and whatever else on the bikes, that's a good enjoyment.
Yeah,
exactly. A lot of enjoyment.
Rather than the danger side of things.
Yeah, the jumps and whatever else. Yeah, 'cause I mean, like I say, I get it if that's your passion. For me, it was a hobby.
Yeah,
So
never anything that you were going to pursue,
really.
I guess.
No, it was a hobby. So when it got to the point where you think, I've got probably more to lose than I have to gain doing this.
Exactly.
It was reevaluate.
And you don't want to end up with permanent injuries or severe life-threatening injuries or anything like that. So it's not worth delving into, I guess.
No, I suppose, like I say, being a dad changes your outlook on most things in that respect.
Yeah.
Years ago, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
But now,
well, I suppose,
now you do, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And was there a lot of things from your childhood that were quite daring that you tried that you probably wouldn't now, that have altered your mindset as a dad, like what you've just said, you know?
I mean, I was never a quiet child, I don't think.
Yeah.
Quite an outgoing, you know, always up for trying something new.
Always, or anything that's thrilling.
Yeah,
and
the same with
Tom
had come up with these ideas of all sorts, and I'd be the one that'd have to try them.
Yeah, always. Younger brother goes first.
Yeah. So he used to be at the hospital here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. But no, so I mean, we had a great childhood in that respect. We got into a lot of good hobbies and sports and crickets and you know, football, everything.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, was there anything else daring that you've done in childhood or even now? Or
no, I mean, as far as hobbies wise, you know, I was quite big into shooting.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, I always, you know, again, I remember probably 7-8 years ago now.
Yeah.
My dad was, you know, an avid shooter, big into shooting, and every year I'd go with him to the game fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone laugh now, but I was petrified of the noise of the guns.
It's just the sound, isn't it? I've been to one myself.
Yeah,
it's petrifying
shoot,
at first. Yeah.
You know, seeing the recoil, the movement in the shoulder, and I thought, it's not for me. And then, you know, the child sort of side takes it and goes, now I want to try that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went to the one and I said to him, can we have a go when we go back at home? Yeah, not a problem at all. And we walked up the garden, you know, like a wooded area at the back, and he shot and I ran off.
Yeah. That was it. That was enough.
And then eventually I sort of overcame that and, you know, took it up and then got quite competitive and ended up, you know, I used to shift team to Great Britain.
Yeah.
And used to go out to, I mean, the last one I think we did was Seoul, Germany.
Oh, wow.
We had the World Cup in Seoul, Germany, which was a great experience to go and shoot that, and all over the country and whatever else. And it became the main focus. Yeah. So, you know, I take it the only step further from that is the Olympics. And
wow.
there's no guarantee you'll get there, especially, you know, there's a lot of competitive lads in that sport.
Yeah. So you've got to really stand out.
Oh, massively, yeah.
Yeah,
and
with something like that.
It was, you know, again, the commitment, you know, the weekends are filled with parenting duties these days.
And you sounded so busy with your business alongside that as well.
So much, I mean, I haven't shot for 4 or 5 months now, if not longer. But again, it's something still nice saying go back to the gym where you can shut off.
Yeah, exactly.
Go off there. Actually, my dad shoots, you know, every weekend.
Yeah.
Go out there sometimes and shoot. But I also think there's a great crossover, I think, with some of the car brands and connections you can get from that sort of side of it all.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of Land Rover customers for obvious reasons, you know, take up that sort of hobby.
Yeah.
And we have a fair few customers from our local shoot that work with us now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. So you've sort of crossed paths with different careers and different hobbies, and that's amazing. And what sort of business advice, should I say, that you'd give to others that are wanting to start their own business, whether that be anything, any sort of industry? What sort of advice would you give to sort of a young woman or man that's wanting to start their own business but doesn't know how, doesn't know what direction to lead, I guess, starting completely from scratch and not knowing where to turn?
Ours was slightly different. Ours was never started from scratch. It was bought, you see.
Yeah.
We bought it when it was, I think there was about 5 or 6 lads there at the time, and now we're on to about 12.
Yeah.
So it's been grown. So I guess as far as starting one from scratch, that's also
even more difficult.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But I guess the biggest one that we've noticed that's really been beneficial to us is keeping the overheads as low as possible.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think it's a great idea at times to go, oh yeah, let's just do this, let's just chuck that in there because this will create this. But if it doesn't, you're on the back foot then.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's being sensible with that and knowing when to, I think, grow. because like I say, we made mistakes with it, certainly did. But it's learning from that.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose keeping motivated, keep your head strong, do your research as well. Potentially maybe even get an investor, maybe get a partner. There's all these different options. It's whatever works best for the person.
Yeah,
like
the same asking for help. I think that's another one. We're quite fortunate with a lot of our friends, especially Tom's side, are all quite well up in the motor industry, and it's asking their advice.
Yeah,
and it all comes from connections.
And do you think that's the key to business for some? Not every sort of business, but for some businesses, it's sort of who you know, in a sense.
I think it helps a lot.
Do you think with getting your way up the ladder?
Yeah, I just think it helps a lot. I mean, there's always people you can lean on. A prime example is when we're looking for stock. There's certain people that we can ring and say, "What have you got?"
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people will be sitting on all
the
the trade websites or, your auto traders sifting through all this stuff, and we can make a few calls to people that we know and go, "What have you got?" Or they'll ring us, "Do you want this?" Yeah. And then we can have that paid, within the hour. And then the next day the car's collected, it's checked on the workshop and it's on the web.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a massive help. And it's the same with obviously our reconditioning side as far as through the workshop. Anything, it's being prepped before it sells out. Anything daft like wheel refurbs and whatever else. Yeah. It's having, a strong connection in that.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a team of people that do our wheel refurbs, and we don't have to ring them.
Yeah,
take them off, drop them up there. That's done.
So connections are key.
Yeah, hugely important. We've found anyway. It's helped us massively.
Yeah, and is there any sort of other advice? Like, what else would you recommend? Like maybe with motivation, like yourself, keeping motivated, keeping a good mindset and headset, and obviously just saving money and investing in what you believe in,
Yeah, certainly. I mean, as far as being motivated for me, I think it's you got to celebrate the little victories as well. Everyone always kind of discards them and just goes, "Oh yeah, let's celebrate the one big one at the end."
They never talk about the little things or the things.
Yeah, we've had some, only the odd deal here and there and whatever else, and you think that was really good. Yeah.
But you never know where it can lead. Not even
so much the financial side of it, it's the process, So, for example, Tom will have bought it. I'll have made a call to someone that I know potentially might be interested before it's gone on the web.
Yeah.
They've come in, we've managed to agree a deal, it's done, turned over, within a day, 2 days. And that's when you sit back and go, that was slick, that was good. It's those, even the little victory. That was a positive business move.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's not the whole thing of, what did we make at the end of the month?
Yeah.
It's, those sort of little ones that make all the difference. And I think it's celebrating that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about, the big wins. It's about the little wins, like what you just said, remembering how you started to where you are today, essentially, And what are sort of your, I guess, goals that you wanted to achieve by this time next year for the new year?
Well, we've put a strong focus coming into the new year. I mean, we've got a meeting tomorrow, actually. But obviously a little bit more clear after that. But going before that, should I say, that we definitely want to do more volume next year.
Yeah.
More so on the sales side. We've got a new sales manager starting. First week in Jan, obviously the second. But I think the most important thing there is, although we're going to do more volume, it's still keeping the quality. Because I think it's the same as most things. You see the manufacturers, for example. I mean, JLR used to do 500,000-600,000 cars a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they set a target when we used to work for them, saying that we'll do 1 million. That's the new target. And that's where we sort of see,
yourself by.
Well, not more so the cars, aren't up to exactly the quality that people expected they once were. Because, it's great to do more and more and more, but it's keeping the quality as well at the same time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that's a big focus of ours, and something we're definitely is making sure the customer's happy at the end of it. And that, it's again for us to repeat business, comes back next year, or they might have a friend, or they might have their son and daughter might start driving, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so that's what you're hoping to achieve by next year, and
definitely more volume.
New achievements for the company itself, and the company get bigger and bigger and more established as well. I imagine.
Certainly, there's plenty of planning going to go ahead.
Yeah,
and has already. Tomorrow's obviously finalising that, I guess, and just brushing over a few notes.
Yeah,
but it should be a good year. I think we've managed to whittle out in the first year or so a few of the areas that we wanted to brush up on.
Yeah,
and that's where we're on.
Because how long has the business been sort of in the works for? Has it been...
The actual business itself has been trading for 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
But I mean, like I say, we've had it probably around two and a bit, I think. Two and a bit, yeah. It was definitely post-COVID.
Yeah. No, that's still good though, because I imagine before COVID it was so differently run as a business.
Yeah, massively.
Different as a whole.
I mean, like I say, I think it only ever used to stock Probably 5 or 6 cars, obviously because the prices of them, a lot of them, and it had two workshop ramps, and it was in a unit on a trading estate.
Yeah.
And now we've got fully purpose built workshop, showroom, offices, all sorts. We've currently got 65, 70 cars in stock at one time.
That's it's quite a lot. I think.
No, it is. Yeah, genuinely, and there's plenty coming in and out all the time. We've got I think 8 workshop ramps, all full usually. We've also got a storage side of the business as well. So we have anywhere between 30 and 50 cars at one time for customers that want discrete storage.
Yeah.
Through the winter months and wherever else where they don't want to drive the cars. And they want them out of the way. So it's
so the business
grown.
has been quite altered since
massively
since lockdown, and you and your brother have bought them new expertise and your own intelligence in the business. People, altered it.
Yeah, certainly, and friends and family and other people within the trade have give guidance on what their opinion might be and what they think. So that's certainly been helpful.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. It sounds like you're doing very well for yourself, you and your brother.
Like
honestly, as a personal opinion, it sounds like you and your family are doing very well. It sounds like your business is doing very well, and I'm happy for you.
I appreciate that.
And what would you say your personal goals are for the new year? Like, what would you like to achieve in your personal life? Where would you like to be this time next year, with anything at all?
Yeah, I mean.
Not just career, but...
not career, if it wasn't career. I mean, as far as the gym side, I've got certain goals, weights you want to hit and whatever else, I mean, that's not...
Of course. And that's it. It could be anything. It could be with your son, with the gym, with hobbies, interests, something new you wanting to start up, anything at all. Yeah,
I mean, there's an idea, a pipeline idea with, a very good friend of mine to try potentially something else, like starting maybe another second business. Nowhere near, it wouldn't be, by any means the main, what we do now is
like
the
a side hustle kind of thing.
Exactly,
and what would that business consist of? What would it be?
It's a bit of a tough one really, but again, it'd be luxury goods, I think, watches and whatever else.
Yeah.
It's kind of something.
Because it's very in demand at the moment.
Yeah, and I think at times they go hand in hand, with what we already do, so I don't think there'll be much...
Too different not straying away from what you're doing.
It wouldn't just be watches, but it'd be all sorts of luxury goods and whatever else. But again, that's only a pipeline at the moment. We
it's
spoke
just
about it briefly,
a
took some notes and had a little chat about that. Yeah. So that's something we'd like to certainly look into a bit more, him and I. As far as obviously, like I said to you, weight's fine at the gym. There's certain weights you want to cut, weights you want to hit, weights you want to lift.
Get on to the next one and the next one. But I guess, lift heavier and heavier.
Exactly. Yeah. But I guess probably is make sure that I can have some nice holidays this year. Is one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
We've all had a few years of tough work, haven't we, ever since COVID, and it's nice for us all to try and get away.
Especially with you and your brother having a business, like building that business from lockdown, that must have been a tough time actually. Just thought of that then.
Lockdown. I mean, to be honest, for me personally, not so much, because I was working at Jaguar Land Rover at the time, and obviously the furlough scheme came in, and I think I was off for 7 months, and it was at a very vital time where my son was at an age to spend really some really quality time with him. Yeah. So obviously it was an awful time for most people, and cabin fever does set in, don't be wrong. Yeah. Especially with at the time a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. But I've got so many core memories now just from that alone. So
So they were like happy times for you personally.
Yeah, great.
And you look back and think that was a very good time.
We did all sorts, the normal stuff, building tree houses, going out on your bike, learning to ride your bike, whatever else. All the little movie nights together, watching The Lion King and stuff. So those will stay with me.
Yeah, and that's what matters, because like what we were saying earlier, your family are your biggest motivators and keep you going with your career and anything in your personal life. And I imagine your son was just that,
Yeah, exactly that. And still is every day.
Everything.
Still is, certainly. It's to highlight my week, should I say, that is when I know I'm going to get him. We have our time, we have our sleepovers and whatever else. And from the moment we're together until the moment I drop him back, we have an absolute laugh. And it is great. He is great.
It sounds like a lovely little boy.
Yeah, he is. He's just so happy. And
like a ball of energy. Sounds perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main things these days, is he just wants time. Like every kid, it's... I think a lot of people think, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, I'll buy the other, and throw all this money at them. And most of the time, all they want is just your time and to play.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask as well. Is it just like you want to raise your son with a very simple way of life and not spoil him and throw money at him, like you say? And
we have different parenting styles, shall I say. But no, from my side, it's very much, exactly how I was brought up. We're very fortunate. If Tom and I wanted anything as a kid, we could, if, realistically, but it was also to learn to work for it and earn the value of a pound, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
I remember I wanted some football boots, and, I think my dad maybe washed a few of his cars at the time.
Like you got to work for something good.
So it's pushing that onto him as well. I mean, a few weeks ago he said to me, "Oh, Daddy, I want some football boots. Can we go to the shop?" And I said, "Well, I have to think what Santa brings, Like,
yeah, exactly.
No, we're not
and that's a very good way to raise kids. Make them not expect everything on a plate. And it sounds like you've passed that down from your dad. That's been brought to you and been brought to your child. It's a very, very good way to raise. It sounds like you've got everything in your life absolutely perfect.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that.
Almost perfect.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Almost perfect.
Got a wall, yeah.
Near enough.
A wall. So.
And is there anything else that you'd like to say in terms of your business, or anything you'd like to achieve, or just any advice to anyone that wants to basically work their way up the ladder and get to where you are today?
I guess just see it through, because I think a lot of people get to a hard point, whatever it is. That's not just work. I mean, in general, I go, I just give up with that.
With anything,
same with the gym, same with anything. It's got really difficult now. I'm just gonna give up. I'll try something else. And I think it's about not doing that. Yeah. That's where you take it to the next step, is when you see it through.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about. And no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, to be honest, Jack. And thank you so much for the advice and talking us through, your life and everything. And thank you so much for being our second guest.
Not a problem at all. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.